It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome everybody to our Daily Gun Show. We come to you live every day at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's 4 Pacific. We go around for about an hour or 90 minutes. We have 3 gun-related topics, different topics throughout the week. We run it live over on YouTube, but we simulcast it over at gunchannels.com, where we're watching the live comments from everybody who's watching us live. Let's see when it's all. I think when it's all, or when it's all over, we'll take the audio from the show and we'll post that as a podcast on iTunes. So we encourage everybody who is listening to the show now or in the future to leave us some feedback on whatever platform it is you're on. It's going to do 2 things. It's going to it tells us where you are, and it allows the show to be recommended to more viewers. So we do appreciate that favor. It's why we take time at the beginning of the show every single day to talk about that. We've got 5 guests, 5 hosts. 4 of us are here today right now. We've got Bob, normally in Canada, but now south of me in Arizona. Thanks for jumping in.
Hey, glad to be here. Maybe not in this heat, but glad to be here.
South of me by like 3 blocks. And then Dano jumping in from Illinois.
Glad to be here.
Close to Dano in Michigan is Smeggie jumping in. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, I'm indifferent on being here. I don't know if I'm glad to be here or not, but thanks for having me.
Kentucky Fried Movie. Or wait. No, yeah, it was Kentucky Fried Movie, right? Prisoners in the Basement.
What?
I think it's that movie. Nothing.
He wants to go back to the other table. He's not sure if he likes it at this table.
I'm pulling an obscure one out of there. I don't think people are going to catch up with. But anyway, thanks for jumping in. And then I'm down here in Arizona also. So we've got D joining later on in the show. We're going to be talking today, episode 267, update on the Hughes. We'll just be touching on the Hughes Amendment, NFA, touch on the HPA. Then we'll be talking about good idea, bad idea. Today it's MacGyver. Then we have our gun advocacy segment of the show that we do every week, and we're going to focus on Texas, and then the stuff that we do every single day. Before we dig into the show, though, do we have anything that happened overnight that we want to talk about?
Well,
I've been right out of touch.
I don't know really not much to talk about, but just be aware about, because I always think it's good to be aware about what's going on in the world around us, even if we don't necessarily discuss it. Is Washington is currently tied up in the fight over what's going to replace Obamacare, and the Democrats, crying out yesterday as far as the millions of people that will not have health care and that current debacle. And then, of course, tomorrow, what I don't hear enough about, which kind of concerns me, but maybe it shouldn't, is tomorrow night at midnight, the government runs out of money, and we enter in a possible sequester type atmosphere once again. So that's happening tomorrow night, the 15th, and yet I hear little to nothing about it out on the interwebs. So, but nothing really to discuss, just points of knowledge to be aware of.
Well, that sounds like it's time to celebrate tomorrow night at midnight.
Yeah, if it runs out, Trump's just going to put it on his platinum diamond card and just say, okay, you'll owe me, right?
And I understand why many people may feel that way. But just as an example, if they decide, well, if we have to constrict things until we have a long-term agreement, we're going to shut down 2 out of 5 VA remote locations to consolidate expenses. I mean, there's all sorts of things they can do that would affect, if not you, people that you might actually care about. And that's just one example. So.
Well, without getting too much into just plain old politics, seems like every time they do that in order to teach us a lesson, the lesson we learn is we don't care. No one even realizes they're off except for a couple of people. So keep doing it, government. Eventually people will figure out we don't need you.
That was kind of my point of the celebrating. But I don't know. It didn't necessarily happen overnight or anything, but I don't know if it's a day in history type thing. But happy Pi Day, everyone.
That's important. So, what pie are we celebrating with?
I personally don't have a pie in the household at the moment, so I don't know. I'm open to suggestions.
Well,
I forgot all about it. I wanted to get a key lime pie. Damn.
Well, we can. I didn't want to go eat pie at breakfast, so either. So why don't we just go meet up later on and get some pie somewhere, take some pictures.
Yeah.
And where did you get this Pi Day thing from, Smeg?
Today is March, and it's the 14th of March. So a lot of people denote that today's date as 3/14, and pi is the numerical representation of this 3.14 with a shit ton of numbers behind it that never ends.
159.
Yep.
That's as far as I know.
Okay, I didn't know you were doing the mathematical thing. Gotcha.
So 3.14.
15.
Yada 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 yada.
1592.
920. Yeah, 920. Because last year would have been
320. Okay.
And then at
Keep going. There's more digits.
Okay, so last year would have been 3/14 on the 15th year of 2015 or the 2000. So it would have been denoted as 31415, which is pi. And then at 9:20 p.m. or a.m., I think it was 920. So maybe that's pi, from what I remember.
Yeah, that would have been a couple years ago since it is 2017 right now.
Dope.
But
whatever. I like to live a year behind everybody else, but that's okay.
Oh, okay.
You can choose.
So, speaking of the show, where are we at?
Oh, come on, Mister is going to talk about politics. We're not allowed to talk about pie. This is important. Now, here we got
the
an
government has a direct impact upon our freedom. I don't believe pecan pie does.
Pecan pie. No one said anything about pecan pie. We're talking about regular pie, good pie. People like to eat. Yeah. So, Raphael says pizza pie. That's an excellent idea.
Oh yeah, never thought.
Now
of that.
that is delicious.
Oh, and then Night Strike said freedom pie, but I don't understand because he spelled pie with an I. So.
Because Night Strike can't spell.
All right. Well, I guess according to Dano, not allowed to talk about pie, so we'll dig into the show. Today's first topic is Second Amendment, and we say Hughes and NFA/HPA update. I know I've seen, or I continue to see consistent efforts at encouraging people to purchase suppressors from all angles. From the hearing, or what do you call it, the ASA for sure, the American Suppressor Association, and the people that are spearheading the Hearing Protection Act, the HPA, but also from a lot of manufacturers. Obviously, have self-interest in not going out of business before the suppressors are taken off the registry, but also from a lot of just interested people who I think are fairly concerned about all these rumors of, not rumors, but all these stories about suppressor companies losing money to the point of putting off, laying off people, and I imagine they're not all large companies, so they're not all going to make big announcements when they have to lay off people, and laying off 2 people might be almost the same percentage of workforce, right, for a smaller place, and that might not have the bells and whistles, but it might have the same effect that they're having trouble at ends meet. So that's about the only thing I can say I've seen, just through my peripherals as I'm going along. I don't really see anything about the Hughes, and even less about the NFA. But what about you guys?
I'll say going at the hearing protection. I just jumped over to the lovely source of everysecondmatters.com and went over to the 2A wiki and found the tracking. And basically, the last thing that happened was in February 6th. It was referred to the subcommittee on crime, terrorism, homeland security, and investigations.
This is the HPA, the Hearing Protection Act?
Yes. This is the House Bill 367 or something. There's a Senate one also. The Senate one hasn't really gone anywhere. So it's going more in the House, and then the Senate one's just kind of sitting there. They're pretty much the same, except some of the dates don't line up as far as like who gets their $200 tax stamp back. One of them is like more people get it back than others. but they'll argue that out, and they'll pick one when if they both get passed or whatever. They'll what do you call that? Where they make them the same kind of thing.
Matt is saying that he thinks they're gonna let it die in committee, since it's not a priority. Do you think that they could do the same thing that Democrats will do when Democrats try to get rid of guns? Anything they do is a win, because if they try, they get a credit for trying, and if they win or succeed and create more infringements, then of course they're celebrated for losing everybody's freedom. So is that one of those things where they're just going to play the politic role, like, hey, we suggested this thing, which is awesome, and then give it a try, but not even the old college try. And then when it fails, they get to go, well, we tried to pass something cool and unique and awesome.
That's possible, but I think that they actually, they do actually want to see it get passed. At least the people that, wrote it and started to introduce it. I mean, I'll give you that. Maybe some of the co-sponsors that jumped on, they don't really care one way or the other. They'd vote for it if it came out, but like you said, right? So it's down in a subcommittee, and I don't know how many people are in a subcommittee, like 5 or something. I mean, it's up to them to do stuff, and then whoever runs that pushes it forward to the next place for a vote, and they get to pick on what they vote on and what they don't. Whoever makes the schedule controls.
The subcommittee that it's in has more than just one bill, so it's not like they're all necessarily advocates of it or anything. They just happen to be the committee that it was most appropriate to have vote on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right now Congress has so many huge balls in the air, things in motion of size that'll impact this country for many years to come. Whether it's Obamacare and repeal, replace, et cetera, of that, whether it's the financial issues that are tearing this country, pulling this country in one direction or another, that this kind of stuff gets put literally to the back burner when you have these huge gargantuan size issues that they have to deal with now. They don't have the luxury of putting what's going to happen tomorrow or not happen tomorrow off for 6 months. And so what happens is some of these other issues that may be important to us get put to the back burner. And I think that's what might be happening here.
I'd like to thank you for the new hashtag. Congress has huge balls, ... in the air.
But,
well, okay then.
Congress, they can only handle so many things at one time, and because they're being pulled by lobbyists in multiple directions at the same time. And
I don't think I like use though, because that's their own job. There's like hundreds of them, and that's all they do. So how can they bitch about the only thing they have to do? Right?
I'm referring to the individuals that actually vote, not their subordinates.
Like, isn't it just whoever pays them the most money gets the vote?
No.
Maybe in Canada.
Well, isn't that why you have lobbyists, so they can just bribe the politicians? Isn't that what they do?
Nope. So you have a position, and somebody suggests that here's this position requires some legislation to either enforce it or remove it or whatever, affect it, and then the legislation exists. So lobbyists are, from what I understand, just there to kind of walk it through, so that there's a entity that's aware of the piece of paper, the concept, and it doesn't just get shuffled under. So if you're an industry, or you're a group of people, or you're a nonprofit, or you're a doctor, whatever the hell it might be, and you've got some interest in affecting change, you can ask and then walk away and assume that that's really doing some work, putting in the time. Or you can actually get to a level like this one, where we create the Hearing Protection Act. We have lobbyists called the American Suppressor Association, called the ILA of the NRA, others, that then monitor the progress and then hold to the fire the feet of the congressmen who ain't doing shit about it, congressmen and women who don't do shit about it, and then report back in translated from government legalese to regular talk how to, what the progress is and what's necessary. And it's not like just because you put something in, it comes out the other end. These things, I think, are the lobbyists are designed to walk that shit through. Now, that's one role. I mean, as I mentioned, there are lobbyists who just see an anti-legislation coming at them for their industry or whatever it is, and then they do all kinds of other stuff too. But I think for what we're talking about here, lobbyists are providing a service that it would take each of us individually efforting to monitor that, and then at best a whole bunch of us monitor it and we all get together and decide if we're all interpreting it the same way, but we're all going to have a different level of access than someone who's basically paid to sit there with it, monitor it, and do whatever they can do to make sure that it gets enacted or proceeds.
I do have an analogy to go along with what I mentioned earlier. Is I guess if you look at a patient going into an ER, that both the nurses and the doctors are going to perform a triage on the various things that are happening. And let's say in this example, the patient seems to be having signs of a impending heart attack, or he's having a heart attack. He also appears to be having a stroke, and he has a minor infection in his big toe. Which of those issues need attention today, right away? And I think that using that kind of very broad-based analogy, and of course, and where does the Suppressor Act fall within the grand scale of things? Again, that kind of explains why does that toe get put to the side, and why are they dealing with the heart attack and the stroke first? Because that's going to kill the patient outright, and the toe won't even matter.
I want to give them less credit and say that there's hundreds of them. They can do all of them at the same time.
But I'm referring to I'm saying that doctors and nurses are the people who have voting power, not their employees, not the lobbyists, the people that actually pull the levers.
And obviously,
because ultimately they're the ones that matter in regards to either change or lack of change.
Well, I'll just throw out there my position on that, and that they are representatives of us. So if we're not going to bug them for a decision they make or don't make, then it's a lot to ask a representative to just be perfect for us.
Absolutely. We have to occasionally remind them.
Threaten and remind that we're aware.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was what the heck was that thing called? There's some app that it was actually designed to what you do, you text it or whatever, and it turns your text into a fax and sends it to like representatives or senators or whoever, like your government peoples. And it was designed to, I think it's called like Resist. And the idea was like you were supposed to use it to tell your people to resist anything Trump tries to do. And apparently some like pro 2A people have used it, and now they're like, oh my god, this is like bad. I saw that on the Instagram. So like Bloomberg was complaining about it or something, like, I can't believe these people are wasting all these faxes or whatever. It's like, what the heck? It's just, I think that's cool, because definitely sending them a hard copy of something is it shows more effort than just typing in an email. And waste their paper and ink, which is kind of funny.
I just did a very quick Google search on Resist app, and yep, you're exactly right. It's out there, and it was set out there for the sole point of resisting Trump's agenda. Yet, obviously, clearly, 2A people have gotten a hold of it and sent other messages in support.
And just if you do use it, a quick reminder, like, they'll know it came from your phone, and you have to type in like your name and email address and stuff. So like, don't be an idiot. You can maybe be somewhat respectful, even though you're calling them dumb or telling them to do something.
Yep. Yeah. So don't be doing either something stupid or illegal. They're going to get a knock on your door.
Trying to find what Instagram thing that was. I think I saw it the other day.
Yeah, because I found it on apkpure.com. Resist APK, free download.
Sure that wasn't ABQ, because I'm sick of Albuquerque. Night Strike, I think, just posted this. Yeah, Night Strike posted a link on the Gun Channel side. I will throw it over to the YouTube as well. And it's from some garbage paper, I imagine. But it talks about this senator something vows to fight legislation that would ease restrictions on suppressors. And it lets us know, quote unquote, this lady who's a representative from New York. These deadly gun silencers pose a huge risk to our enforcement and our communities, and I will do everything I can to stop this ill-thought-out legislation that would allow more criminals to get their hands on these dangerous weapons. And then they go down a little ways, and then they go, federal law currently puts silencers in the same category as machine guns and grenades. Obtaining a silencer requires a 9-month approval process and $200 tax. And then the next thing is picture of Trump's kid shooting the shotgun suppressor over at Silencer Co. And it says, Donald Trump Jr. is among those who have backed the bill. So I was suggesting that maybe this is going to be a thing like, obviously they're going to try to explain anything they can. So this lady obviously doesn't know anything because she suggests that criminals can't suppress firearms right now. And then she says it's ill thought out and that criminals would get their hands on these dangerous weapons. So I don't think she knows what she's talking about. And maybe using it as a platform where she gets to get a voice where normally she wouldn't. And maybe on the other side, they're looking at this as because we need to have these bills passed, but I'd rather see them passed and then go into gridlock, because it's going to just be a ping pong game, right? As soon as they pass it, then they're going to fight it like if it's the worst thing that's ever happened with no justification, right. And then it could potentially be a big thing. So perhaps these people are thinking, oh, okay, great, you're going to throw this up there, let's get it up there so that now we have this new thing. And maybe she's the new Bloomberg's new chosen one, or maybe the chosen one for this effort. I don't know.
New Feinstein.
Yeah, a new Pelosi.
So here's something as I was looking through that other thing. It's from 2A for CA, and basically, I think California has restrict silencers no matter what, and so it's a thing for Senate Bill 710, which has something to do with silencers. But I just think it's kind of funny. If it pleases the crown, might I alter my property to save mine ears? They have a whole bunch of these, if it pleases the crown type posts. I think are kind of funny. Like you're asking permission, but that's basically what. Can you alter your own property in order to make your ears better? Like that. That seems fine to me.
I do want to touch base on the NFA because there was a petition that was signed and successfully over on the petitions.whitehouse.gov and received currently 261,610 signatures, and it only needed $100,000 signatures. Freudian slip there. To get a response from the White House. But when I was reading the details of this particular transparency thing that I believe Obama administration brought this out there, I could be wrong, is that there is no time frame that the White House has to respond to any of these petitions. Do they have to respond to them? Yes. Is there a time frame that they have to respond to them? No. And so I think that's important to realize is yes, we did get something out there successfully. They could respond today. They could respond in 6 months. They could respond 2 years from now, and they would still be following the spirit of what they set up here. Because it does clearly state that they will respond to it after they review it in time. It's not like it says, and we'll get to it within 30 days. No, it doesn't say that.
Right. Yeah. I just popped over there, and it does say something that others can still sign the petitions while it's waiting a response. So I don't know. I guess still go sign it if you feel like it. But then when the White House responds, everyone who has signed the petition will get an email from the White House to let them know that we've reviewed and responded to the petition. Because I've always wondered about that. It's like, yeah, okay, great, we got a bunch of signatures and stuff, but whatever happens to it. And so I'm over on it right now, and I don't see anything that, seems to say that it has a response or anything. Like, there's nothing on the White House website that says anything about a response.
Yeah, and there are others out there, that are, most of them tend to be anti, Donald Trump, that have gone over the 100,000 signature level as well. Some of them, I think, are in the process of being answered, as far as I can tell. Some of them are probably put on the back burner for now. But as long as he answers them, before he leaves office, he's answered them.
Well, hang on. I'm looking at this thing. Hang on. I go back. It says, get an official update from the White House within 60 days. So this ended February something?
Yeah.
So sometime in the middle of April, they'll at least give an update on, again, according to this website.
Right. And an update can be as simple as still pending review.
Oh, that's true. But I'm just saying that at least.
Yeah. Yep. It's better than being on, it fell into a black hole sort of response.
Ooh.
So where are we at on this? Have we put enough dirt on it?
Well, I think that we're at risk. We've made a good effort at getting together for the effort overall, and then specifically that signature thing like you're talking about on the White House thing. But it's an opportunity for us also to not lose interest or lose the momentum that is there. It's an opportunity for people to champion this and to keep that torch lit and attention focused on it. Because really, if we allow them to mothball it or ignore it for the sake of shutdown or freaking healthcare or the hell else they want to come up with as an excuse, we're never going to live in a time when the government says, all right, everything's perfect, so let's talk about these guns rationally. It's going to be something that we have to multitask, that we have to do on top of whatever's there. And no, again, it's an opportunity for us to do it and challenge, because it's not something that anybody's going to profit from necessarily. And the people that would profit from it are going to get scorned as having a bias or some kind of agenda of money. And, we all like being capitalists, but we're going to, anyway, so we've got a potential to relax and let this thing crap out like things can have done in the past or can do when there's no attention. We talked about lobbyists a bit. We got to be the lobbyists, right? As a group, we need to figure out how to get together and not hire somebody, just put in the work, the effort, and the persistence to be our own lobbyists for something like this. Big opportunity here. So we talk about stuff in these segments of the show. We definitely don't sit down and research this stuff and give you some, here's the definitive point of view on this. Or we don't sit down and try to say, here's a prepared statement. Go out and spread the word. What we're trying to do is get the conversation started, realizing that we are all the people that need to change this shit. So we can all watch it really comfortably and easily on the internet now. We can watch all this do nothing, or we can be part of the change. We can be part of the momentum that keeps this moving, so that we learn from the Hearing Protection Act and we remove the Hughes, and we learn from this and the Hughes, and we more effectively compete maybe against 4473s, or if it's national reciprocity or something like that. We should be considering this the first of many challenges, and I think our biggest challenge is apathy right now. I know this is falling on some deaf ears in our own audience, and not that you're tasked with every day tuning in with advocacy as your number one thing, but again, ask yourself, is this something you're sick of hearing about? Is it something that you're ready to move on, or are we willing to put in the work? Just like a long drive or a big job, there's some parts of it that are boring, and you have to trudge through. so that you can reap the benefits at the end. And if we're all rolling our eyes just talking about this, then how do we expect us as a community, firearms owners, to accomplish way more than this? So nothing's going to be handed to us. We've been saying that, and we bring it up in topic, not to harp on it, but really to just that we all think about it in that way, that nothing is going to just happen. None of this is on wheels and rolling downhill, so we get to just watch it. If anything, it's not on wheels and it's up fucking hill, and we have to be pushing this shit. And it might be tough, and as a group of people are pushing together on something, it's easy while it's a big group for people to kind of drop off and, oh, I'm tired, or I broke my knee, or I've got an invalid excuse why I'm stopping this, but you guys keep going, or I'll be right back. But now we're at that point where there's so few people that we're literally not keeping the thing moving and literally risking it falling backwards. And everybody's kind of either looking at each other or making that personal decision. Are we going to continue to push this fucking thing up this hill, or are we going to just do the easy thing and go watch whatever the fuck's on TV tonight? So anyway, not bitching at the choir here, but hopefully reminding everybody that this isn't just a topic of conversation. This is literally the only time we're going to have this set of circumstances in our country, and we can choose to succumb to what's next, what's interesting, what the hell can I buy next, or we can figure out a way to rally the troops, which is really the goal of this show, is to talk to people who are creating and people that are watching people who create, not people who just regurgitate, and get some of the best ideas of all those people and use that to stoke the fires in the others so that we become this furnace of change. All right, I'll quit preaching.
All right. Anyone else?
I don't think so. I mean, I think that
You can't wait to get to the next segment of the show, that's for sure.
I mean, as long as you signed your petition to make windbreakers legal.
Excuse me?
I don't know. I was just guessing.
Could we just have a show before this show where you do the tactical pop quiz, and that would be even earlier?
We could start off the show with a tactical pop quiz.
Well, I was thinking that, but then I'm thinking that's not early enough for Dano. We need to have like a pre-show where we just put the tactical pop quiz like an hour and a half before the show.
I mean, we are 40 minutes into the show. I wouldn't exactly call this the beginning of the show.
I don't look at it by time. I look at it by topic. We don't even topic yet.
Well,
but to be fair, we used to always do it between the second and third topic, so mixing it up is kind of helpful.
Anyway, it's time for the tactical pop quiz of the day. And so those of you over on YouTube and those of you over on Gun Channels, move your cursor on down to the text box, limber up your fingers, and get ready to type.
And those of you judging YouTube, go actually look what the answer is, because I didn't do that yet.
Yes, I always check with my
assistant. 42. Okay, good. Yep, I got that.
Yep. With my assistant, have you seen the question? And more importantly, have you seen the answer?
I have seen what you typed for an answer.
Oh, boy. If that doesn't sound like a whole lot of not supporting me, but I appreciate it anyway. All right. I will keep an eye on the Gun Channel side. You keep an eye on the YouTube side. And the question is as follows. Really what was the first successful gun design? What was the first successful gun design of Eugene Stoner?
Wait, I know that answer. What did you put down? Oh, that's a Dano answer. Okay. Yep. Yep.
Oh, winner. Angry.
I think we had this.
AR-5. That is correct. AR-5 survival rifle picked up by the United States Air Force. So congratulations, Angry. You are today's tactical pop quiz winner.
And that makes you the tactical hot shot of the day.
And congratulations, Angry. And Smeggie, go get yourself some ice. Sounds pretty good.
Why do I need ice?
Well, you might have hurt yourself. I can't tell.
Oh, no, I just was making up for not being able to do it yesterday.
Okay.
And just for the record, Colt over there on the YouTube, he got the right answer, but way, way behind. So yeah. I think that YouTube lag is killing him.
And All
say
you got to do
something
to take
about
care of
Thunder
it is head
Ranch.
on over to. All you got to do to take care of it is head on over to gunchannels.com and sign up. It's not like, gee, it costs $1,000. No, it doesn't. So check it out. Obviously,
That is
Angry,
true. Free to join.
Let me finish my little spiel here.
Oh, sorry.
Angry, you know the deal, but head on over to dailygunshow.com/pop-quiz. Fill out the form, put your first, second, and third choice of the patch you might like to win, and congratulations.
The Dano spiel.
Yeah. Well, I always like to put out certain pieces of information in every one, and putting out the website address and those sorts of little things they're important.
Well, they are, and we appreciate the fact that you remember them, Dano. I mean, especially with your memory, you must have them written down somewhere.
And speaking of that, I want to ask everyone who's listening right now live to go ahead and just take 5 seconds and give this show a thumbs up on the rating system. It helps us get more new people to be able to see our show and help this show rise over on YouTube as far as the number of popularity in YouTube's algorithm of videos, or in this case, a podcast that will be seen to others. So please give us a thumbs up.
Right on. So then we'll dig into the good idea, bad idea segment of the show. We take in a topic each week, and we try to find one that's divisive amongst the group here and our audience, and then we basically talk about the good and bad concepts of it. But before we do, between the first and second segment of the show every day, we like to take a break and focus on one of the members over at Gun Channels. Gun Channels is a place we built a while back. It's a community. It's focused on firearms. It is not, or Cape Dave is not banned from there. So it's basically a social media platform. We built it whenever YouTube had basically changed the way they were going to be dealing with comments and communication between YouTube members, or people that use the YouTube, and they were really trying to push people over to Google Plus, I think, to compete with Facebook, and nobody liked that. We had grown accustomed to the way that we were communicating and creating videos and replying to each other with them, and the social portion of what YouTube was being changed. So I think that it was like 2013, end of 2013 or 14 or something, and a couple of us got together and looked at the various options that were available. We bought some software that's used to host community places online, and then bought it, put it together, and focused it on firearms. And now we've got thousands of members, probably hundreds that are regular, frequent members or frequent users, and then maybe dozens that use the place all the time. So it's really become a lot like maybe a gun shop, or hanging out at the range between shooting sessions, hanging out at a gun show, something like that. It's like a place where people can hang out. And maybe it's a little bit like a bar where some people are regulars and others show up. It's just not a special day.
Like a kitchen table after a good weekend of shooting. You all get together, have a few beers afterwards.
Exactly. So sometimes, it's usually focused on firearms, but the conversation will waver from different topics. But anyway, with that in mind, we like to remind people about Gun Channels. It is something that where we all met each other, and one of the reasons we do the show is to help promote the concept of people getting together. And we focus on, or we feature a member every day, somebody who exemplifies what it is to be a Gun Channels member. And today, somehow, Smeggie got on the list. So today we're featuring Smeggie, which is one of the reasons we built the place. Smeggie does all kinds of stuff. He's in here right now. He does his own show, Hit or Miss, Saturday night, or like Tuesday nights, 9 p.m. I keep forgetting if it's Tuesday or Saturday. Joins in on the live chats whenever we have them. I mean, crap, you're probably met more people in real life on Gun Channels than anybody else. Although Bob is planning on terrorizing the country, trying to outdo you this year.
Yeah, that's okay. I should get quite a few at NRA show, because it seems like there's going to be more this year than there were in the past. What the heck? What happened to my thing?
Bob has the opportunity and all the time in the world to go to NRA, but when I asked him if he was going to NRA, he said, "Screw your NRA."
No, I said screw Georgia in the summer.
So you'll just stay in Arizona. That sounds smart.
Well, this ain't about
No,
Bob.
I'm going to the tip of Texas.
Yeah, it's about Smeggie. What the heck?
I'm
We don't want to hear about stupid
Quince
Bob.
Fork Smeggie
I'm going to
here.
go see Matt at the tit end of Texas.
Okay, so anyhow, with that said, like I said, we try to feature one of the members over at Gun Channels, and Smeggie's definitely the prototype member, and somebody who participates. They also you watch a lot of stuff too, so you're there for the other people that are participating and creating their thing. And I don't know how you do it, but you're pretty much always positive. So thanks for being a ideal member of the place.
Let me get my little 2 cents in there since we're having
wasn't
a roast, a Smeggie roast. We're having a Smeggie roast. One thing I do have to say that makes you, at least when I first came in contact with you via Gun Channels, is that you're amazingly easy to get along with, which a lot of us over on Gun Channels tend to be very strong in our opinions, and me included. You're very easy to get along with, and that not totally unique, but very flexible and enjoyable to be with. So it's nice to have you here.
Aw, I'm blushing. Thanks. I just want to throw out there for people that are wondering, like, what the heck? How come he's in all the chats and all this stuff? I just started joining the lobby, and you just start talking with people. Next thing you know, you get that little rapport with everyone. You start getting invited to, like Matt's show or, one of G-Web's things like the AK Guru podcast and things like that. So I look at it, I don't have a lot of friends in real life that are into guns. I have like 2 that know guns. One guy knows quite a bit. The other one, he likes shooting, but doesn't know a lot about them. So it's always like me teaching him stuff. So it's nice to come on Gun Channels and talk to people who know more than me. And then I learn a bunch more. So I'll just use this time to plug Gun Channels again. Even if you're only kind of into guns or whatever, like check it out and you'll learn some stuff.
Yeah,
plus it's a really nice, friendly atmosphere. There we do have, but by the next day we've either forgiven each other or forgotten about it, one or the other.
Yeah. And on that note, let's get the good idea, bad idea, and let's fight each other.
Well, I'm thinking that it's not going to be fun because I think we're probably, unless I'm wrong, we're all either indifferent or pro MacGyver. Our anti-MacGyver person isn't here right now, so I'm thinking let's save this one until we get some actual debate. Unless
he should be here shortly. Do we want to just wait a little bit? Because I want to fight with him.
That's a good idea that we rearrange this for the purposes of today.
So then,
well, we have to because
we got to Texas when Dan was here, and he's just got a few minutes. So let's go unprecedented. We're going to go out of order and not do nothing rigidly in line with schedule.
Yes, because we're always such sticklers for scheduling and time.
I know we're going to lose viewers over this. We're going to say that we're going to go to the gun advocacy section, and specifically this week we're going to talk about Texas. Wait, is that true? Yeah, I thought we were talking about next week for Matt. So we had asked a couple of people if they had time to join us today. I know we changed our schedule around, so we're kind of in a time when some people are commuting. But we do have some members from Texas, so if you're out there and you'd like to participate, we're trying to, again, just touch on these things. It's not like we're authoritarian, whatever the word is, experts on this stuff. We are just trying to keep the conversation going. Like I mentioned before, it's up to us. Nobody's going to do this stuff for us. So with that in mind, Daniel prepared some stuff about Texas, and if somebody's out there who knows about Texas or lives there or something, let us know. Maybe jump in.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, my role, if you've listened to, we've done this before, is I kind of do a state of affairs of each state and kind of give a summary of where they are at this point. And then after I do my thing, then someone else or we'll collectively kind of talk about new things that may possibly be going on. So Texas, where are they right now? There is no state required permit to buy pistols or long guns. There is no registration. There is no licensing of owners, such as in my state, like a FOID card. There are currently no assault weapons bans. There's no magazine limits at this time. There is a license for pistol carry only, not for long guns. It is legal to open carry both pistol and long guns. They do have campus carry for pistol only at universities, and starting at the I believe it's September of this year, they will also have that at their two-year colleges. What in my area we call them junior colleges, but they'll also have campus carry at those institutions. There's also no restriction on NFA items. They have peaceable journey laws, so that means if you're traveling through their state, you should not have any problems. Unlike, again, if you happen to travel through Illinois, you may want to do some checks. They have no background checks for private sales, which is great. They do have some good castle doctrine laws. And lastly, they do have state preemption, so cities cannot make more strict or ammunition type laws. So that is the state of Texas.
Well, and just something on the open carry thing, though, that I believe you do have to have like a carry license in order to open carry. So originally the carry license was for concealed carry, and then if you have that, you're then allowed to open carry.
And I should have started off with and the information I have here may, unknown to my knowledge, may have slightly changed or not necessarily be 100% correct, but that is to my best of my understanding. And that's why we always try to look for somebody who might be from the state that we're covering, so that they can, find those errors, omissions, as well as bring us up to speed on some of the current things that are happening.
Yeah, it sounded pretty accurate to my knowledge. I just wanted to clarify that as far as the open carry thing, because there are some states where, open carry means like anyone can do it. You don't need a permit to do it. So.
Yeah, and that's constitutional carry.
Not necessarily, because constitutional carry normally refers to carrying concealed without a permit.
Well, it depends on how they interpret constitutional carry.
I know. I'm just saying, because
I understand what you mean.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. I've never heard constitutional carry considered open. Open carry considered constitutional carry. I'm pretty sure constitutional carry means the concealed carry by the Second Amendment. But
that's what I've always heard it as.
Okay.
But
I don't know if there is a definition, though. And maybe it's just the way we're all used to hearing it or it being used.
Right, and that's exactly that could be it, is that's just the the common.
Tony, who's also from Illinois on the YouTube side, is saying that constitutional carry is carry a gun, any gun. So maybe that's something in Illinois that they're exposed to differently.
I do not know. So is anyone either out in our text chat or here on the panel aware of any current either good things or not so good things happening in regards to Texas?
I found one that's going on right now, and it's one of those, it's pro rights or pro gun, but it's not a game changer. It is Senate Bill 16, and basically related to the removal of the fee for the original duplicate, modified, or renewal license to carry a handgun. So I think I in the article I read, it says something like the carry permit, it's like $150 or something, and they're basically trying to either get rid of that completely or make it a lot cheaper. So that was about the only thing I saw for this session so far that's been introduced.
Now, has that been assigned to a committee?
Yeah, it's crap. I just closed the thing. Why did I do that? That was dumb. Yeah, it's in committee right now. I'll be able to pull it back up rather quickly if I go to everysecondmatters.com and go to the state issues and click on Texas.
Zeke, you were recently in Texas. Did you take advantage of your opportunity to carry around stuff?
Say what?
You were recently visiting Texas.
Yes.
The opportunity to carry around stuff because of your. These are
Well, I didn't have it's either a concealed weapons license or the other thing that it changed to license to carry. And so I had neither. So I did not opt to tempt fate
and you can't just and they couldn't at least you can't.
for fear of permanent trouble.
Okay.
I'm sorry, G, what?
I was wondering if open carry was a thing when you were there or not.
But it's open carry with a license, so you have to have a Texas.
Yeah, you still have to
carry
have.
license.
Yep.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's not like real open carry.
Yeah.
It's open if you have a concealed carry permit. So kind of weird.
Well, no, it is open carry. It's not like where it's permitless carry, right?
Yeah,
Well, no,
we get so confused on the things.
If you're permitted to carry concealed, you can choose to carry it open. You can't just choose to carry it open unless you got that permit. I think that's what I was
That's what I
Right.
thought.
Yeah, and it's like in contrast to Michigan, where anybody can open carry, and then you need a permit to conceal carry.
Which almost makes more sense, I think.
No,
But,
I
just-
don't think there should be anything. I think if you own a gun, you don't have a record, you can legally own a gun, you should be able to legally carry it.
Well,
just go back to the Texas thing. I pulled the
okay.
tracking back up, and yeah, it was referred to the state affairs on January 24th, and then since then, I don't know, a bunch of people co-authored it, and then it is scheduled for a public hearing on 3/20, so that's coming up.
Well, I mean,
Next,
the
next
good
Monday,
news
as a matter of fact.
is that it's scheduled to come up. Sometimes these things will get sent to a committee and they're never scheduled, and that's where they go to die. So the fact that it's been scheduled is a good thing.
Right, but even still, it's just a public hearing though, so that just means people come in and say like, "Oh no, we should have money because it's good," and then other people come in and be like, "It shall not be infringed. We're not giving you any money."
But
And
yeah, but everything that is
just-
eventually passed has to go through that sort of process.
When we feature states like this, do we have to just congratulate states no matter what, or can we hold their feet to the fire?
It goes both ways.
I wonder, just off the top of my head, we give scorn to the 7 million gun owners, or perceived, whatever, the estimated 7 million gun owners of California for the lack of action to defend against some of the onslaught of shit that comes on their way. But when do we ever look at the Texas gun owners who really go around taking credit for being super gun advocates and pro Second Amendment and all that, yet they got stupid crap like this? Why aren't they leading the way? Why aren't they Vermont? Why aren't they ahead of Arizona as far as getting constitutional carry? Why are we still farting around in a state like Texas, right? Got to assume the gun owner percentage or whatever is pretty high, dealing with goofy perception stuff like open carry. And
So wait a minute. Are we saying that they did a good job for the most part, but you know what? You just didn't do good enough. You just didn't do enough.
Well, what
Is that
did
what
they
we're
do?
saying?
No, because I never said good job. I'm saying your Texas take credit
Even worse. Okay.
pro Second A, but then are you really leading the way, or are you just hanging out in the middle of the pack, which is where I think they're at?
yeah, well, definitely the fact that they just got open carry last year. That's yeah, that is, for one, it was kind of surprising when I heard like Texas might get open carry. I'm like, they don't already have that? I thought everyone talks about like, oh, it's Texas, everyone has guns. It's like, well, they don't even have open carry. That's something we've had the entire time, and we're in the middle of the pack.
Connery makes an excellent point because Austin is a blue capital in a predominantly red state.
Yeah, but that capital, that might be blue, but the rest of the state is red with the districts or whatever. So when they send their people to Austin, they should be there to fight for the rights that the people want.
I'm not here to pick on Texas.
Well, they're
Congratulations for
built
being-
on population,
but
right?
I live in a state with a city that dominates us. We have more than half the population, I think, of the state, or pretty close to half the population of the state, if not more, in the one county, in the one city. And then they're super.
Tucson is the most dangerous town in the entire state of Arizona.
doesn't matter. Tucson's insignificant. I'm talking about Phoenix, which is a blue or whatever the hell Democrat in a state of Republicans. So obviously we have different ratios or whatnot. But all I'm saying is you don't get to say, Texas doesn't get to say, oh, well, our one city is Democrat or leftist, and that changes the state. I'm saying, again, do we give them a free ride just because they're Texas?
When it's Austin, Houston, Dallas, and San Antonio, you kind of do, because the population outweighs the rest of the space.
Well, I just said that happens here in Arizona too. Now New Mexico's.
No, you said one city. I just named 3 more.
Well, okay.
But anyway,
Illinois. I mean, again, I'm just saying. I'm not just going to give.
Yeah,
Texas
Illinois is pretty much Chicago.
Yep. Yeah, you're right, Z. The whole state of Texas gets pushed around by a handful of cities.
Exactly, by their largest population centers. I hate to say it, it's the way California is with L.A., San Diego, San Francisco, and Sacramento. They're the state's largest population centers, and basically, there's enough people, like in the millions, that whether it's popular vote for your state senators and state representatives that gets you screwed in the state Congress, or it almost can make you feel like if you lived like in Fresno or something like that, or Redding or Truckee or something like that, where, dude, my vote doesn't even begin to count. So I know that there's some people that almost feel that way in Texas, unfortunately.
Broom says on the YouTube side, I've heard of anti-gun people say even Texas has such and such requirements, like they're a benchmark of pro-gunness. So again, Texas, I mean, it's one thing if you're a state where you're getting your ass kicked like Illinois. California, I don't know, it's kind of unique again because of what it is, but lots of states get their asses kicked by a big city. Texas, I'm saying, how come they're the ones that they'll put it on their shoulder. We're free and we're Texans and Republic of Texas and whatnot. So they've got a tradition, a history, a rich history of being independent and leading the way. So all I'm saying is I'm not Texan. So, I mean, I lived there for a little while, but I'm not Texan. So I don't have any allegiance to the Republic of Texas or nothing. So I'm not giving them a free ride is all I'm saying. We're here to talk about the state, not just rah, 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 Texas can't do anything wrong. I think it's ridiculous that for a long time, their permit, from what I understood when I first got my Arizona permit, and in a class, you'll a lot of times compare with other states, especially when there's states you might travel to, like ours. A lot of people do travel to Texas from here. So they brought it up that from what I remember back in those, like whatever that was, 10 years ago or something, that if you had a concealed carry permit in Texas, it was either revolver or pistol. That seems weird to me. So I guess I'm just saying that we're not here to just cheer them on. I mean, they do.
Oh, and Texas had a qualifier as well. You have to qualify.
But I did want to, if I don't know if you can all see my screen that I'm sharing, but I wanted to pull up a map and I had to quickly find it. This is from November 2016 of Texas, counties by Democrat versus Republican. And if you look at the map, and the labels may not be clear, but landmass wise, yes, it's surely the vast majority is Republican. But as far as the larger cities are vast majority Democrats. I mean, it's not just Austin. It's San Antonio. It's Dallas. It's Houston. It's Fort Worth. It's Laredo. It's El Paso. I mean, there's a number of other cities that have a good chunk of population that are Democratic. It's just not all one city. Where in Illinois, it's all in one corner. So and what I wonder.
All right. Enough of this in the side chat here or whatever. I ain't scared of nothing and all this. When did we start to be working together? And yet somebody or something is weird today, and I don't know what it is.
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Somebody threatened to buy out Arizona because we had to be careful what we're saying. So I defended myself against a Texan, and now I'm getting scorned for defending myself against a Texan.
Well, now wait a minute. Was that from somebody in Texas?
Careful what you say about Texas. We'll, implying possession, send our peoples and buy Arizona. And I said, I ain't afraid of no Tejas. So I'm just
Which is fair. Which is fair. I missed the first statement, so yes, G, I got your back. Sorry about
I
that.
was looking at it more as part of a historical thing, as far as how did Texas get to the way that it currently is, and that I just didn't want all the blame to go towards one city.
I have a theory on that.
It's what I always say about Arizona. It ain't windy here. New Mexico Mexico blows and California sucks, and it's that people who are going across to Arizona. They don't like it here. Then they go to New Mexico. Nobody likes it there. And they end up in Texas, which people do like. And they go, oh, yeah, let's hang out here. And then spread their filthy disease.
They tend to stay in metropolitan areas.
Well, I was going to say Texas ended up being like Texas the way it is now. It's gotten to this point is because at some point, Texans straight up just didn't give a shit what you thought. Whoever the fuck you are. No offense to anybody listening right now. And that's something that they've definitely been holding on to for a long time. Is like, you can tell me what you want to tell me. That ain't gonna make me do it.
Until enough of those
I've met a lot of people in Texas that still believe in that.
And that's fine to believe that until there's enough people on the other side with the power of the vote to make you change.
No, G-Webs, it's been a while since I heard the one that you used about the sucking and blowing, but I've definitely heard that before, and it cracks me up every time. And much the same way that you're saying drive right on through, that's fine. I know that there are some people over in Texas that feel the same way. I know it's terrible here. You wouldn't like it.
You shouldn't. Nobody should move to Texas unless they're willing to pull themselves up out of the bootstraps and work. Because
you got that right, dude. Because it's all about hard work, in my opinion.
But like Dan said, cities, where are they going to go to the country in Texas? Come on.
Yeah,
they ain't gonna make it. They ain't gonna make it, bro.
And that map that I had kind of illustrates exactly that. I mean, those cities are spread out all over Texas. The blue dot here, the blue dot there, the blue dot everywhere, sort of a thing.
I don't know. When I interpreted that map, I seen it pretty damn proportional or relational to the international border with Texas. It seemed like every little bit of blue, the majority of all the blue, was on the international border with Mexico.
Well, as far as number of counties, you're absolutely correct. But if Dano throws that back up, you'll see that the population centers, what he had is like literally you're talking millions of people in one spot, millions of people in another spot, millions of people, or a million people in another spot. And then in addition to like those 3 or 4 that you're talking about, then you have what you're talking about, G, where basically the border has become littered with, yes, I'm going to vote for a Democrat because they talked about getting me free health care and on welfare, or they're talking about this, or they're talking about that. So they get them kind of right as they cross the border.
You all see the map again?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
I mean, he's right. He is right. That's the majority. That's more than half of the border. That's like 2/3 or 3/4 even.
But but most of the population is north of that.
Yeah. Well, again, the majority of the population is in Houston, Dallas, Austin, and San Antonio. Those are pretty much the major population centers.
Yeah. And they're all clearly democratically controlled.
Hold on. So if we're looking at Dano's thing, that's Dallas. Fort Wayne and Dallas are the same?
Yeah. Fort Worth, yes.
Fort Worth and Dallas. Okay. I thought it was over in the middle more. So there's nothing in the middle of Texas like a city?
Well, there's tons of towns.
Yeah, I mean, but Amarillo is clearly Republican. I mean, that's in the top.
That isn't a big town, Dan. That's just there because they needed gas stations.
No, and that's kind of the deal is there are no really large ones like west of Austin. I mean, not big. Big. I mean, how big is like Laredo, and what's the other one that's on the border that's like Laredo?
El Paso?
Yeah. Like how big are either one of those?
El Paso is not big. El Paso's, I think, way smaller than Texas, unless you count Mexico side.
Yeah, a number of those cities are they're well known because of their geographical position. That's why they are there, and that's because a lot of the people had to get from point A to point B, and that was the most logical place to go. And like you said, Amarillo. Why? Because they needed to put something up there because it was too isolated.
No, there's towns all that's the thing. This map isn't like literally showing all the towns of Texas because there's a bazillion towns in Texas. But some of them, like you said, G, they might literally be that in one intersection where the one highway meets with the one county road and the town built up around it, from whether it was from oil, from rail, from cattle, from, whatever through time, it was on a pathway to somewhere. Okay, so Ponnery's out there telling us El Paso's like 675K, which I think is maybe 100,000 more than a Tucson.
Wait, how many is it?
675, and you guys got what, like 560 or something?
Oh, I don't know. That might be.
And Mr. Ponnery,
I think it's something like.
I don't know population. I just going by driving through it. Like it seems like it.
I got you. Well, and that's the other thing that I learned about going from where I was from in like the UP to down to more populated areas and stuff like that was urban sprawl. Like sprawl. When I drove to Arizona when I was like 16 or 17, that was the first time I kind of realized you could drive through 3 towns and they were all part of the same town. They had just been annexed, kind of a thing. And the same thing when I was in Texas, like, oh yeah, no, this is Clear Lake. Well, no, I mean, yes, it's Clear Lake, but no, that's part of Houston. Oh, this is this. No, I mean, yes, but it's really part of, that.
If you're going to take a town or a city or whatever, and then draw a bunch of lines in it indiscriminately and act like those are different towns, they don't get to do that. They only get to do that if you're a local. Everybody else gets to acknowledge it as just being like Dallas or just being.
Well, I mean, for example, it's like 3 hours to get from like Houston to Austin, but there's towns, almost the whole way. There's a few breaks here and there where there's nothing. But I mean,
from what I remember, going from San Antonio to Houston is like that. I mean,
yeah, and see, that's what I'm saying. It's like they're not in, like you saw on Dano's map, like they're all different in different counties and stuff like that. But yeah, so it's not like they're all attached.
But I feel like we should move on. We're going to lose Dano here at some point. And I feel like Texas is hogging too much of our show. So they already hogged too much of our real estate. Let's not let them.
It is the biggest in the 48, so it deserves a little bit at a time.
Yeah, it is a big state.
I think Alaska spreads out more, but
that's not in the 48 though either.
Right.
Yeah, Alaska's bigger than Texas, but
yep.
No, I'm saying, is it really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alaska is not well represented on the map compared to how big it really is.
Yeah, it's humongous. Like it's almost as big as one of our territories up in Canada.
Bob, and never mind. I'm not getting into geography.
I'm not talking provinces.
That's right.
I'm talking territories.
Yeah, but if you just Google superimpose Alaska over, contiguous 48, it's amazing.
Huge.
All right, I need to make some donuts.
All right.
So
a couple of glazed and some jelly filled.
What
are we on to?
We saved the good idea, bad idea because we were all pro MacGyver. So I'm thinking let's move into the second segment of the show today. Good idea versus bad idea. So basically, back when Bob and I started doing this show over a year ago, we would handcuff our one wrist together and then we would knife fight over various ideas, and then the last person standing won. And now we've tamed it down a bit and we got these guys in here. But today's good idea, bad idea is MacGyver.
Now, what exactly do you mean by that? Good idea, bad idea, MacGyver.
Let's start with the Canadian, because MacGyver's Canadian. So let's get the Canadian viewpoint on MacGyver.
I think it's a great idea. I mean, are we talking?
What's a great idea? That's what I'm confused on.
Are we talking the show?
The fact that he exists, or what?
I mean, I like the whole concept of being able to build stuff out of nothing. I do it myself all the time. It's part of being self-reliant. Now if you're talking about the show and the fact, I don't like guns. Well, he had a reason for that. It was explained in the show. He did use them. I think there was a couple of episodes where he actually used a firearm. But he was always able to, most times he was in a situation where he wouldn't have had one, even if he'd had one to start with. Somebody would have taken it from him. So, yeah, I didn't have a problem with it. People can not like guns for their own reasons. I don't have a problem with somebody not liking guns. I have a problem when they want to take mine away because I happen to like them. And he was never like that. He never.
You didn't watch all of MacGyver then. Don't be saying
Well,
that, because he definitely
yeah, maybe I didn't see those episodes, or maybe I just glossed them over in my mind, because I think Richard Dean Anderson's a great actor. He did great in Stargate, the TV series. Hey, I like the guy, so I'm gonna give him 2 thumbs up. I think it's a great idea.
Except it's a good idea, bad idea. So you're wasting your time with your thumbs, and now Z's about to cut you.
Only if Beat It is playing in the background during the Eddie Van Halen solo.
So we're talking about a TV show from 1985 to 1992. Now there's like everything, some suck-ass version of it that they're making new. But back in the day, it was this guy who, I'm trying to look for the secret agent Angus MacGyver, who works as a troubleshooter for a fictional Phoenix Foundation. And I was looking for what his, okay, it says MacGyver served in the U.S. Army as a bomb team EOD technician during the Vietnam War. Resourceful and possessing an encyclopedic knowledge of the physical sciences, he solves complex problems by making things out of ordinary objects. Along with his ever-present Swiss Army knife, he favors non-violent resolutions and prefers to not handle a gun. But no, he gets all preachy about like how guns are bad and how it's not the actions of the individual or the decisions they make. It's really just this inanimate object being in their presence that's really the problem. And if we remove this inanimate object, then somehow everyone's, going to have a different life or something. That part of it was a little bit annoying. But I thought the improvisational aspect of it was pretty good. Am I losing the internet? I'll refresh.
Now, if he ever would have used a gun. Oh, wait. No. I'm saving it. Never mind. Are you back? Are you back?
Yep.
Can you hear me now?
Did I get lost?
All right. Do you think? Oh, yeah. You dropped out for a second, so I wanted to wait till you came back. Now, I like MacGyver just fine, but I got a couple of problems. Do you think that if he would have ever utilized a firearm a little more often, he might not have been in so many tight scrapes and places where it's going to be the end of the entire world if I didn't have a stick of gum, a paper clip, and this strike anywhere match? So I think that some of the levels of his Mr. Wizard stuff was a little ridiculous. I think that his purpose of being anti-gun, I think, caused him a little more trouble than, again, I don't want to say unrealistic, because really we're talking about a TV show in the 80s even. So, but
let's not dismiss it as just a TV show, since it's one of the best.
Okay, very popular, and I understand there are millions of people that love MacGyver. They love that mullet. I'm just saying, MacGyver never wore body armor, so he should be happy that the only ever people that were shooting at him were former G.I. Joe Cobra soldiers and the bad guys from the A-Team, because Richard Dean Anderson wouldn't have ever taken a bullet very well, even though I think he did get shot in the arm or the leg like once or maybe twice through the show.
I have to bring up the point, like where you're talking about the unrealistic science of it. Yeah, some of it was pretty ridiculous, but they did, the Mythbusters actually did recreate some of his solutions
under controlled circumstances.
Well, yeah, but we're talking about a TV show, so the whole fact that what he was talking about doing would in fact work. I thought that was a great part of it. I mean, it was
Bob's blinded by the mullet. It's that Canadian pride. He's weeping maple syrup right now. Now here's the deal. I've said all of that, G-Webs. I don't really have a problem. Yeah, you're probably still wearing a mullet. But anyway, like I said, G, all that being said, I don't think that MacGyver was a bad idea. I just had issues with MacGyver about the anti-gun. The sometimes anything can be solved with some packet of salt, some malt vinegar, and a butane lighter, which Actually, I think there are some things that can be solved with that, but that's beside the point.
Well, that's
So I'm going to say MacGyver, good idea.
Oh snap!
As a TV show, not as like practical life role model. Because again, I feel that he had the stormtroopers shooting at him, dude. He never, you know what I'm saying? Like he put himself in many positions.
If let's just look at this realistically then, because this is getting into you're missing some points, I think. So if every time a gun was fired and a bullet was projected, someone died, then wars would be drastically different. In fact,
I agree with you.
A ton of money on ordnance that we miss with, right? So the idea, the concept that a whole bunch of people shooting at one guy who's running isn't
never been able to hit him though. Never.
If your job is to do something dangerous like eat fire or drive a motorcycle inside of one of them ball cages, most people are going to walk up and fall off the, you know what I'm talking about, where you drive that motorcycle inside of the cage ball thing, you know, seems real dangerous or whatever. I'm sure most people are going to try it, are going to fall and hurt themselves. People that do that for a living do it all day and night and don't even think about it. Their heart level doesn't even go up. You know, they do the flying trapeze or something. You know, they do that all day long, and it seems real strenuous or crazy, but when you do it as a matter of fact, and I think there's that level to it. So if somebody who is calm and collected and is run in front of gunfire often, it's probably not bulletproof, but probably not going to trip themselves up and is going to understand that there's pretty low chance that somebody spraying an M16 at them without that much enthusiasm isn't always going to hit them. So you probably get used to that, and you probably even, MacGyver was a bit of a showboat, so he would have probably even risked a little bit. So I'm not saying he's bulletproof, but I'm saying that it's not unrealistic for somebody to be running out in front of stuff. I mean, did Indiana Jones not run in front of a bunch of guns? Do we say that he only fought stormtroopers? Did anybody?
We will not disparage Indiana Jones by comparing him to MacGyver, please.
I'm about to bring in other things. So let's talk about Yoda, and let's talk about what you take into the tree with you. So that concept of not bringing overkill.
All right, Smoke Dog. Yoda isn't even a human being. He's a Jedi Master that was over 900 years old. So that totally does not count.
Jedi philosophy of you bring with you what you need and what can be.
It doesn't stop you from getting shot, though, bro.
It's a philosophy, and if you watch MacGyver as a treatise on how to like choreograph a run to miss bullets, I think you're missing the point that it's supposed to be, let's get in and let's figure out a way to fix this, and let's not waste a bunch of time thinking about how the perfect way to do it and supplying ourselves with a bunch of stuff and then find out that we're preempted because what we thought was going to happen didn't happen. Instead, let's go into it and be creative and be open-minded, and let's solve a problem and not be caught up on how we solve the problem. Let's just continue on. And I think that philosophy is what MacGyver is. It's not the, you know, oh, well, can you really weld that long of a weld with a single penny? Yeah, you can weld with a penny, but you're not going to get a nice freaking bead going down 2 pieces of metal necessarily with just 1 penny. So, I mean, you could get all caught up in the technical, or you could take it for the philosophy. And that's where I guess I was going to, again, not defend the principle of being anti-gun, which I think he took, well, I acknowledge he took to an extreme, but the concept that you don't need a gun and you can solve problems without force, that's, there's got to be some way to describe that. It's like saying...
Now, that concept I won't argue with. Solving problems without force. That concept I will agree with.
So I'll agree that I'll acknowledge that he takes it to too strong an anti-gun, but I think overall in the culture, MacGyvering something is something everyone knows. And I think overall, the show is iconic, and that guy was able, obviously, to do it intentionally. He fell into it, just trends and fads and whatever at the time. It worked out for him, but what he created, or what he reinforced, was the American self-reliance, the ability to get something done because we have a greater understanding of the real situation, and we don't get caught up on the little stuff. And overall, we're good people. If we only can do, if we can only bring with us certain things, our weapons don't have to be one of them. We're not a warlike person like Klingons or something. So I thought that, or I think that MacGyver brought that to the culture.
Hey,
That
even Luke
Well,
lost a hand, dude. And I'm stealing that from the guy in the chat.
Let's just say there wouldn't be a Nazi MacGyver. There wouldn't be a Stalinist MacGyver. They don't value the individual solving problems. They definitely don't value someone solving problems without force. And I think.
Oh, and he also, the same guy makes a point of blowing stuff up is not force. What? Because if you think about it, he did blow a lot of stuff up.
Well, he did blow some people up, I guess, but he would blow things up as a diversion or in order to then run away over here or to make something move, like clear a tunnel. He wasn't out there to improvise munitions against others. He was out there to use what's at hand to effectively get whatever task accomplished.
Well, and that's the thing I was thinking of earlier, is that half of the solutions he came up with were like part of the plot before the bad guy showed up. So like, it doesn't matter if he's pro-gun or anti-gun on that. Like the idea, like you said, you can, weld with a nickel to fix a pump when you're down in the freaking Amazon or whatever. That was just an irrigation water pump. That had nothing to do with the bad guy showing up yet. He just was showing you can fix, like, you don't need to wait for, get the pump shipped in, wait 3 weeks or a month or whatever. Like, you can just fix it right now. And he did all sorts of that kind of stuff. And his little Swiss Army knife was super useful for all sorts of things. And so I'm going to weigh in, being as someone who, walked out to MacGyver's theme song at my wedding, that I am pro good idea MacGyver. And that is just the entire mindset. And if you can take his entire mindset of, you just fix the crap with whatever you have possible, and you mix that with then being pro firearm, now you're unstoppable. Because when you do need to use force, you got that aspect of it to, get away from a bad guy who's actively trying to kill you. But when you're just working around the house, or your car breaks down, or, something else happens that doesn't involve needing to shoot at someone, you can just use MacGyver techniques and you're good to go.
Or you get shot because it's the real world.
Here we go again.
Okay,
Listen,
so next time my car breaks down, I'm going to get shot. You didn't hear what I'm saying. I'm saying,
I do.
If
I hear you.
Because, okay, you can use MacGyver for the part that MacGyver is needed. If someone pulls a gun on me, then fuck yeah, I'm going to pull out my carry gun and I'm going to use that aspect of it. I'm not going to, throw a flashbang at him or something, or, mix together whatever, some type of chemical reaction. So I agree with you on that there is a time and the place to use a firearm. Sure, I agree with that. But I'm saying in everything else in life, when you're not being shot at, because you just said real world. Real world, I bet you every single person in this chat is never going to get shot at. Maybe one person that's listening to this chat will be shot at, compared to all the other people that will never, ever in their whole life get in a situation. So that part is, you need to be prepared for it, sure. But the more realistic part is getting stuck in the woods, getting lost camping, whatever. You're losing power and not having stuff for your house or whatever it is. You know what I mean? So if you can MacGyver stuff out of what you have laying around, then I think that's a valuable skill to have.
And also the attitude that let's not let this broken whatever item ruin our fishing trip. Oh gosh, Bob, come on. Let's not let this ruin our fishing trip. Let's just get the motor running and deal with this when we're back at the dock.
Okay, and I want to add one thing about it, and this is something that MacGyver basically promoted, and it became an icon.
He always
the Swiss Army knife, and this thing is one of the most useful tools in the world. And
Swiss Army knife was iconic long before the mullet ever got a hold of it, dude.
It was around long before MacGyver, but because of his show and the popularity of it, so many more people have these, And in many cases, I'm sure it saved their lives because they were carrying a Swiss Army knife because they watched MacGyver and thought, you know what, that's a darn good idea. That just have that little tool in your pocket. So, I mean, kudos to him for doing that and making more people carry a useful tool that includes a knife blade as well as everything else.
So that one has a blade on it, Bob?
Oh, yeah.
You think you could use that to open your fucking closet and get a shirt?
No, man, even with the air on, it's hot in here. And besides, you know, a little something for the ladies.
Yeah, and then we are, that benefit is that we are up to 37 viewers as soon as Bob got naked on the show. So,
well, I'll say a benefit to Swiss Army knife is it's got the corkscrew, you know, bottle opener thing. I'm going to use that to jam in my eyes, and hopefully I'll never have to see that again.
it's
what is wrong with you guys and men being shirtless? I don't understand it.
It's not.
It's understandable, but then the memories.
It's so common for men to go shirtless in my country. I don't understand why this is so weird to hear.
Hey man, you can go back to your country anytime you're ready, Bob.
Well, I don't want to because it's still cold there.
Then put a shirt on.
This is a country where we encourage you to participate in the melting pot, but leave your crazy ass weird shit at home.
Hey, you know what? When I was at Big Sandy last year walking around without my shirt on, I found a couple of women following me around. It was kind of weird.
Yeah, they had to make sure you weren't on the sex offender registry.
What is just, you know, you're not wearing a shirt because it's hot out and you're, you know, you want to get some sun on your.
Except it was October. But
vitamin D.
Let's go back to MacGyver and not Bob being shirtless, okay? Let's wrap up MacGyver here.
Oh, are we wrapping it up? This is a pretty.
Well, hey man, if you want to keep going, we can keep going.
But I think Bob, in spite of his apparel or lack of attire, had a good point. That yeah, I think that again, what I give if it's a seesaw or a balance or a scale, I understand that, and I'll acknowledge that it's way too anti-gun and it was unnecessarily anti-gun. I guess it's because that guy, and from what I understand, it's because the actor's a dick. He doesn't like guns, so yes. He was all about amplifying that portion of it, and then later on. Well, if you watch MacGyver, the first episode of MacGyver, let's not fail to acknowledge the first episode of MacGyver, he's shooting an AK-47. So this, I forget what year, what did I say those years were?
85.
1985, 1 year after Red Dawn, a show debuts and the guy's improvising munitions, and it starts out with him with an AK-47. So that was our first introduction to MacGyver, and then he becomes becomes more into his like crazy ideas. So anyway, the beginning of it, he was more of like I don't carry a gun because I don't need it, not because I hate guns. Later in the season, he did become definitely more of like, I don't like guns because I think they're a menace to society or scourge to society or something. So I'm not gonna justify that because that was bullshit. But that is more towards the end. But I think again that it's such a part of culture. For whatever reason, that thing just caught on, and everyone knows what improvising is MacGyvering. And I think for that, it outweighs that anti-gun slight, because honestly, nobody watched MacGyver after the first couple of years anyway. It was a thing, but only kids were watching it. So it was probably brainwashing some kids, which was a bad thing. But at the same point, it was brainwashing them that being responsible for yourself and having your wits about you, like I said on the gun channel side, thinking outside the box, that I think was an overall benefit. And that's something that we can all own. He was, even though he was a Canadian, he was, you know, it's an American show. And well, I think that.
Yeah, and you got to remember, like, no matter what his politics were, the writers were the ones ultimately put the words in his mouth. And I don't care what any actors' beliefs are on firearms, because I don't care actually what any of them think. They're actors, right? These are not smart people.
Yeah,
these
and I mean,
who are good at acting.
And I came out of watching the show quite a bit and still pro gun, so it's like, and I hear what you're saying as far as near the end it was bad guys have guns, good guys don't type of thing, and the guns are evil type whatever. But still, going back to like what you had said, the MacGyver attitude, the thing of just, you can do it yourself, you can fix it. You know, it's not that big of a deal. You got some duct tape and some rubber bands, whatever, you can figure it out.
So, in review, the entire panel said good idea.
I'm giving it a bad idea. Just
Good.
True.
Thank you.
Just to mess with the biggest odds.
My theory worked. Negative reinforcement. I got you, G. Ha!
It was the threat of a gun.
And just, you know, I want to give a word of warning because I learned this the hard way. If you're playing the MacGyver drinking game, you know, be prepared to drink a lot.
And throw up and potentially die from alcohol poisoning.
Well, I didn't do that, but I went with, because there's so many things you can pick. So I would do like 3 per episode. But the main ones were every time you see his Swiss Army knife, every time he shakes his hand after he punches somebody, which was every time he punches somebody.
Which was every time he punched somebody,
Yes.
yeah.
And then the other one, this is the real killer, is you take a drink for every time you see a clock like count down. So if it shows like 10, 9, 8, and then it cuts away to something else, then 5, 4, 3, like just every time you actually see the number change, you take a drink.
Well, you can't physically do that. Come on.
If you watch the show,
I did physically do that. I got through 2 episodes. I was in my room, so I wasn't driving anywhere, and I was pretty drunk.
No
So I
doubt.
stopped after 2 episodes.
After watching MacGyver all drunk, do you wake up and there's like Swiss Army knives jammed into everything in the house?
No, but I had a clock out of potato.
No, I was going to say, but no, there's mullet hair everywhere.
I woke up and found that I canceled my hair appointment for the following day. So I'm like, I'm going to let it grow.
Nice. Party in the, what is it?
Business up front, party in the
business
back.
up front, party in the back. Thank you.
You got it, baby.
And MacGyver liked hockey. So that was another thing for the
MacGyver
American
just didn't
audience.
like
It was
hockey.
like, what's
MacGyver
this
actually
hockey
could
thing?
play hockey.
Yeah,
Well, yeah.
MacGyver could actually play hockey.
Of course he would. He was Canadian, for God's sakes.
And he
Well,
was
that-
wearing a
that-
Red Wings jersey.
All right, you know what? If Bob keeps going on about MacGyver, I'm going to switch mine to bad idea. Because I've had about enough of this national icon, elevating it and
Well, it's the
putting
only
it on
good
a
thing ever to
pedestal
come out
he
of
can do
Canada.
No wrong.
Yeah, there was a lot
No,
of
there was a few others.
normalization attempts in that show also because of that guy's, well, Canadians' influence over that guy. So, all right, we're gonna move on. So we do a good idea, bad idea every week. If you'd like to suggest a topic for the this segment, then feel free to either email us dailygunshow@gmail.com, send us in a suggestion, or join us on the second Saturday of every month where we get together with our Patreon supporters and do a live show and schedule the month ahead. And we'll see whatever slots are open and we grab suggestions from our audience. Or sometimes like this, maybe we figure out like, you know, Canadian brainwashing is a topic worth talking about. We might add that ourselves to the schedule in the future sometime. But if you ever have an idea for us, feel free to let us know. Definitely makes the show better because otherwise we end up talking about the 4 or 5 things we like to nerd out on.
Definitely want to thank the entire audience for their participation, whether you're participating now on YouTube or gun channels or Instagram or Facebook or wherever you find Daily Gun Show. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, today especially we have quite a few live viewers, so thanks everybody for watching. And if you would give us a thumbs up or whatever on whatever platform it is. If it's on Gun Channel, say, you know, hey in the chat there or something, so we have an idea of where you're listening. But yeah, thanks again to the people. We've urged our listeners in the past to share the show with people who might be interested. So if people have done that, thanks. It's paying off. All right, so with that, I think it's time to hit the gun shop of the day. I don't know how much we can do. Let's do a quick Google search for it. So one of the reasons we do the show every single day is to give us a platform to talk about a new gun shop every day. And we attempt to do that. Bob is going to be traveling the country here, so hopefully he'll be out collecting a bunch of new contacts and sees a bunch of new shops here. But we're going to be talking about, I don't have no idea how to say this. Do you guys have any clue how you would say this?
Schupbach.
So it looks like this was sent in by somebody. I usually just take the email and throw it into the schedule. So I'm not sure who sent it in, but it's in Jackson, Michigan.
Yep.
That
Probably
Michigan.
right down the road from the prison.
Okay.
Well, that's a neat place for it.
Where is it says the city is Jackson. Where's Jackson, Michigan? If you look at Michigan looking like a mitten.
I think it's up from Smeggie and to the left.
So basically like in the web of the thumb, like in that.
No,
I
it's
think
west.
west.
Out by the pinky finger of Michigan?
I'm thinking it's down from your ring finger. I think it's down from there.
Yeah, it'd be in like it's kind of middle-ish.
I guess we could look at a map, but that would be a lot of effort for us.
Yeah, that would be very complicated.
That was sent in by one of our listeners. Looks like they have a pretty nice site with some pictures. I guess I will screen share since I'm looking at the website.
Right on.
So here we got some pictures of the shop. I always like shops that have a lot of inventory up on the wall so you can get a good look at it. Looks like they've got their price tags hanging out, which is nice also, so you don't have to sit there and feel bad about bugging somebody for an hour and a half as you look at the prices on a million guns. Looks like we've got some...
is that a bird on the wall? What's that? Top and to the right. Yeah, what is that?
Yeah, that's like a pheasant, it looks like. Just its head is in this picture frame, but it's sort of that like in-flight type of...
that's cool.
Yeah, got a lot of...
Right in front of that deer, is that a poodle?
In front of this deer here?
Yeah, see the deer? See on the... it looks like the deer's shoulder, but is that a poodle or something?
That's a good question. I doubt it's a poodle, though, because in
I
our...
want to say I'm going to go with no, but...
Okay. Could be a baby lion.
No, I doubt that, but... Anyway,
But yeah, I mean...
a little shotgun.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, lots of good stuff on the wall.
In this country.
Oh, yeah, look at it. Look at all the semi-auto shotguns and stuff. I mean, that's nice. He's got a lot of stuff there, and... I was only kidding about the poodle, guys. Everybody should know that.
Okay.
See, some says don't mess with that fella.
Looks like they've got some powders, some components. I'm guessing they do a little bit of reloading stuff as well. Looking down here, a lot of shotguns. So is that an area with a lot of upland bird hunting?
Lots of hunting in general.
Oh, you guys also hunt with shotguns out there. You don't shoot. You hunt with rifles.
Michigan's...
Depends on where you live.
Yeah, it is in the restricted firearm zone, which used to be called the shotgun zone. Up north, you're allowed to use rifles, and then down south, you used to only be allowed to use shotguns for deer hunting. Now you can use straight walled cartridges, so like 44s and whatnot. But just to sum up, Jackson is south of Lansing and west of Ann Arbor, which is basically like dead center of the back of your hand. Look at the back of your left hand. So dead center below your middle finger and about level with like the middle of your thumb.
But you said Lansing?
Yeah, it's the south of Lansing.
I got it on my screen. Boom, there it is, right there. So you could have said like a minute and a half. Or I guess you just said.
Look at that. Michigan almost looks like Canada. It's got tons of lakes.
Oh my!
I thought you were going to say Michigan kind of looks like a mitten.
Does Bob
does kind of look like a mitten.
Canada? Does Bob seriously think Canada is a peninsula?
Or maybe a monster screaming. I don't know. There's a mouth right there, kind of. Right where
it does kind of look like. If you looked at just this, it almost looks like if this was the line between Canada and the United States, that almost kind of looks like Canada. And it does. It's only because North America kind of looks like a mitten from way the hell out here.
The size of that country. You could put 2 United States in Canada, couldn't you?
Hey, Smeggie, what does the border crossing like? Is there a wall at Windsor? Or the tunnel? What's the story?
No, there's no wall. There's the Detroit River. So
Talking about here?
Yeah.
That's how the Canadians get across on that little bridge right there. And that
there's a bridge and a tunnel.
Right.
So
and they're going to build
with stopping the flow of Canadians, he could probably do some bubble gum on this one and some kind of a like.
Didn't they just build a new bridge?
They're going to build a new bridge south of Detroit, so all the truck traffic can like come up from Toledo area and then cut over into Canada without having to go through downtown Detroit and screw up all of our traffic.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, actually.
I know. You know how much money we make on diesel fuel? It's like twice the price it is here.
Yeah, but the guy that owns the Ambassador Bridge is trying to stop it.
Oh, no doubt, because he's like, you pay me to go over that bridge.
I apologize to our audience that we're now talking about like traffic in Michigan.
Well, and just for the record,
Traffic
we are going to build a bridge, and literally Canada is going to pay for it. Michigan is
Nice.
not putting a penny into the bridge.
All right.
That's awesome.
So you guys could talk about that.
But anyways, yeah,
when you talk about Canadian,
Jackson's a big like farming area, lots of hunting, so I could see why they would have lots of like shotguns and type of things, because there's plenty of fields and probably plenty of game to shoot at.
looks
That
like
shop looks cool.
Kimbers and handguns and whatnot too. So although we didn't see a lot of pictures of them in here, well, no.
Oh yeah, they got Kimbers. They got, yeah, some nice stuff. Definitely, I've checked that one out. Well, I can't really. It's the wrong part of the country for me.
Well, they're not going to let you go into Michigan, Bob. Are you kidding?
Oh, you kidding me? I can go anywhere. It's
You'd
America,
like to think
man.
so. You'd like to
freedom
think
here.
so, buddy.
We got freedom here. This is North
Hey,
America.
freedom ain't for everybody, bro.
Although apparently we're now talking about building a fence because a whole bunch of Somali refugees are leaving America and coming to Canada.
So Dusty is saying it's about 20 miles from the state line, about 30 minutes from him on 94. He says very good shop. He visits often. So thanks. I'm not sure if Dusty sent that in. He also follows up with good inventory, range, and archery range, which I guess I closed it already. But third
cool.
of the website is talking about archery. So pretty cool.
That's awesome if they got a range, though. I mean, that elevates the gun shop to a next level type of thing if they got a range, let alone a range and an archery range.
So then
for sure.
we want to thank whoever sent that in. We do appreciate it. The goal, like say, of doing the show on the daily is so that we can hit some of these things every single day. And we want to feature different gun shops that are out there that are unique or interesting. That could use a little assistance getting the word out there. Shops like this one, who knows when you might find yourself in Michigan for a work event or church or school or, I don't know, family event or something. Somebody moves and now you have an idea of a shop you might want to visit. You might be anyway, you might be helping that shop out a bit, and it keeps our show interesting. And like I say, Bob's about to be traveling, so if you know any shops specifically in northern Arizona, northern New Mexico, Tulsa or Oklahoma, anything in Texas, Bob will be sweeping the country here, doing a road trip. So one of the reasons we send Bob out like that is that he can experience some of those gun shops. So if you want to suggest some, again, our email address is dailygunshow@gmail.com, or let us know on the comments of these videos, or like I say, jump in and chat with us on the second Saturday of every month.
For sure.
What do we want to hit next?
Oh, what do we got left?
Gun of the day?
Sure.
I guess we're going to screen share here and take a look at another video. We've been doing a video series of gun of the days, and it looks like today we're looking at a couple of different 380s. Did this video back in November in 09, and
Bursa's Argentinian, right? Or where's Bursa from again?
I know it's South America.
South America.
I don't remember where. Oh, maybe I just said. That's a Russian Makarov, German Sig. Oh, I just say South American Versa. So anyway, they're all rip-off of each other, aren't they?
No, one came before the others.
Right, that Makarov there. And then they all just ripped it off.
No, the other way.
Yeah,
Pretty sure the PPK was first.
Well,
really?
Walther, yeah.
Oh, okay. So basically, though, that idea of having a gun that comes apart by yanking down on the trigger guard and being a real stiff little slide, and then usually have European style mag releases.
Well, of course, because they were all European.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people who think that that's a preferable way to switch mags, especially on a little gun. And I don't know if that's because of the mechanics of not wasting a bunch of time putting a delicate little mag release up top, or if they really think it's just, in the dark, it's easier to just bring your hands together than to be fumbling.
So on the European style release, literally you're bringing your hand down the grip first before you can release the magazine because you're pulling it off the bottom, correct?
Yeah, exactly. You're intentionally bringing your hands together, which pretty much everybody can do anytime, and then yeah, manipulating the mag out. And then depending, these are little guns, so the magazines aren't very big. You could have them both in one hand, or else again, just bring your hands back together and then insert that thing. I don't know if anybody. You think they were really designing these guns? Were what, designed in like the 50s or something, 40s maybe? Do you think that they were really worried about
Well,
efficient mag changes? I don't think they were.
no, because most of them were like the PPK or whatever. It's like literally carry for police. It was originally designed for. Whether I don't remember if it was detective special style or if it was literally like almost patrol style. I do not recall.
Probably it was just up to the whatever, but basically that's the concept, right? Is that they were issued, and I would imagine also coming from revolvers where you had 6 or 5 shots. So they were like 7. Why would you ever need to reload? Now we have more bullets than we've ever had before. Maybe I'm just.
Well, it was all way easier to load that or faster. Maybe not easier, but faster.
Right, compared to a revolver again, like, because we're looking at it from like 17 round 9mm perspective. Like, oh, compared to that, it's clunky and archaic. But compared to reloading a revolver, this had to be like a million times faster.
And plus, at that time, they weren't talking like replacing the 357 revolver. They were talking about like 32s and 38s. Like probably actually, they were probably talking about 32s is what they were talking about replacing.
Yeah, a little really? 5 shots. 5 shots.
And a lot of the time,
the break tops or what have you,
Or it was an 11mm black powder revolver. I mean, a lot of militaries didn't.
No,
11mm black powder revolver, and then you think a lot of departments went from an 11mm black powder revolver to a freaking SIG?
Or the Walther.
I'm going to be inclined to disagree with that thought.
Yeah, I think there might have been.
Any of the, you look at World War I, they were replacing those big bore black powder revolvers with 32s. Now these are 380s, but basically that's
but this isn't World War One. This is literally after World War II, and probably right around the time either during or after of Korea, not World War One.
That's when these revolvers evolved from the early single action Browning type design 32 ACPs.
You said revolver, you mean these little pocket pistols?
Well, no. When I'm talking revolvers, like for the military actually replaced their big caliber, big bore revolvers with 32 ACP basic single action, basically a Browning single action revolver, or not revolver, pistol.
Well, then I have less respect for Europe even more than if they're going to do something like that. Look, Bob had to leave in disgust or shame.
Well, shame, I think.
I don't think
he can't believe that he actually said that.
They went from that stuff to like 45 caliber revolvers that were modern and like Nagant revolvers, right? They went to at least a cartridge revolver, I would think, and then went to some kind of Luger or crude 9mm garbage, and then decided that this was the same thing and went down to this. But I really don't know. I'm just assuming. I'm a European assuming.
Sorry, guys. I did something that kicked me out.
Yeah, you're crazy.
Yeah, you said something stupid, and the internet said nope.
Nope. Yeah, exactly.
Nope.
I guess.
All right. Well, I don't even know which one we were technically saying is the gun of the day.
Now, G, out of those. Well, I was just going to ask you, G. You handled all of those, and you're handling them in the video. And this may not be a recent video, but do you remember any type of like fit and finish changes, or did one have a better trigger, or any of that? Do you remember, or even shooting smoother or anything?
So I don't know. Yeah, I guess.
I mean, I have my assumptions, but I think I'm wrong.
Well, hasn't everyone at some point maybe not had them all 4 sitting together like this, but everybody's fiddled with all 4 of these guns before, no?
Pretty much. Not the Makarov. That's the only one I haven't played with is Makarov.
So that, oh really? So I think I got Thumb's Mac here. I'll fiddle with it. But anyway, let me go back to where I can see all 4 of them. This Walther, I guess, the silver one is stainless from what I remember. All the edges are really sharp on it, so it's nice, but it would, like if Yankee had it or if somebody else had it, they might stone down some of the edges. At least I would if I was going to carry it.
I was going to say they'd rub it down for sure.
Because it's not melted or whatever, and I don't know if that's intentionally stop. You never heard that? You never heard that term for rounding the carry gun, melting it?
Rounding it down, rubbing it down. No, I mean that means something completely different where I come from.
No, he said something totally different. Yeah.
I would call.
Okay, like yeah.
Anyway, then this one's a nice gun. The serrations are kind of sweet. This is probably the one I would take.
And that's the SIG, right?
I guess so. I don't know which one. I think I might own it. That might be my gun. And then I don't own it now, but I think I owned it back then. And then, but it's European.
That's the Bursa's the next one.
Yeah, Bursas are crude, but they work. I don't like them. They're like a Taurus or like a Maverick. They work, but they think they're so good and they're not that great and they break. So they're okay. They're ergonomic. I'll get out. If you need to get somebody shooting and they're intimidated by anything larger, this might be a transition gun if you got the money, or you can borrow one. But I think they get too much credit for being I would never carry one. Too many little pieces to break. Just looking at it. I mean, look at all these other ones. This one, ultimate in simplicity. This one, I don't know.
It's got horns everywhere, dude.
This one here? Yeah. Like, oh, we don't have enough.
Yeah, Bursa.
Add some more pointy bits first, and then we need more levers and dongles. But let's make them out of like coat hanger and stuff that breaks, so that once we add more parts, they break right away. And then like whatever the hell, this little lever thingy, like let's make it so that it's not even all going to fit underneath the grip. But it's super comfortable. I would say out of these, this one's probably the most comfortable to hold on to, followed by this guy. So then there's this one, which is just ultimately simple, super cool. It's like the AK of little pistols. So I would say if you're going to own any of them, probably this one, because they used to be like $75. And then you can get stuff that's cool for them. The trigger guard coming down is legit. These don't have the trigger guard that comes down. I think they're better than that. And then this one costs too much. This one costs too much. This one is okay for playing around. So that's my summary of them.
Yeah.
I wouldn't own any of them. I don't think it's a necessary gun as far as carry. It needs a 380. It's tedious.
Well, now, are any of them small enough where they would be, for some people, dare I say, summer carry? Are they small enough?
Here's what I think. People get a 1911 or maybe like a Glock or whatever their large normal gun size is, and then they think for some reason, oh, if I am going to go swimming, I need a smaller gun. And then they go look at 22s and people discourage them, and then they see these and they go, oh, they're comfortable, and they buy them. And then they don't realize, like this one weighs about 1 million pounds. This one weighs a little bit less, and this one weighs close, and then this one is kind of heavy too. So none of these are lightweight. So you look at them, you hold them, you're like, oh, this is great. And then you actually put them in your bathing suit or wherever, like tube top or whatever you planned on carrying them in, and it sags all down. It's in a closet or whatever. It sits in a drawer for the rest of the time. So that's why Bursas never break, because people buy them and they're like, oh, I don't want to carry this sharp thing that pokes me. Look at these sight signs.
So is the right carry for swim trunks a 25 then? Like a little baby Browning? Is that what all surfers should have in stainless?
Glock 19. You just get one of them little retention things and strap it to your other ankle.
It's not concealed when they can see it.
Doesn't have to be. You're surfing.
I mean, unless you wear bathing trunks that go all the way down to your feet, I guess.
Wear a beach robe. No, I'm saying just attach it with one of them little curly cords like they put on a surfboard, so that you don't ever lose it in the water.
Oh, okay.
Use it to defend yourself against sharks.
That's called a leash, by the way. Just in case you were wondering, that is called a leash.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, most surfers need to be leashed.
In pistols, we call them retention liners, I think. Anyway, so that's kind of the day.
A pistol it would be a lanyard on a pistol. Thank you, G. That was an excellent video.
Yes, very good.
Had to fill in. Bob's here, but he didn't.
Hey, I put a gun in yesterday and nobody wanted to talk about it because you had already put a gun in. So there.
You already did your job. No, we moved your gun down, I think, so it's in there just weeks from now.
God,
Okay,
nice
it's a really cool one.
5,000 links I get it. Hit or Miss is starting at Tuesday nights, 9 o'clock.
Oh, wow. Starting right
Got
now.
it.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Do we have time to do this one? We're going to do movie. So every day we like to talk about a gun movie. If you haven't seen it in a while, we remind you about it. If you're a youngin', you ain't seen nothing good yet, we tell you about it. Today, it's Terminator 2, second Terminator.
Hey, but also, though, Smegs, man, if you got to go, we understand, dude. I don't want you to mess up your show either. But if you're cool, we're cool, of course. You know.
Well,
It's hit or
if the
miss.
show's not starting until 9, that's 3 hours from now.
9 Eastern, Bob.
Okay, so
Yeah,
what time
Bob.
is
Thing
it?
called time zones?
Bob and man.
Whatever. I go from like we kind of change our time, and then to where we never change our time. I used to live in a province we never changed our time, so I think the whole change.
Anyways, I give Terminator 2 thumbs up.
Along.
All right, Terminator 2.
Terminator 2 thumbs up.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it 2 thumbs up for sure too. I really like that one, where Arnie was no longer a bad guy.
He didn't swear as much in that one, and it did go to PG-13, which is kind of a bummer. But
Yeah.
And
Good movie.
Terminator 2 is really just...
and that's right why too. What G-Web's is showing on his screen right now.
Terminator 2 is really just a bunch of movie wrapped around that scene right there, which made the whole movie for me. And Sarah Connor, awesome.
She was so hot back then.
Oh my goodness.
But
also there was Terminator made out of liquid metal.
Yeah, the
Liquid
liquid metal stuff. That's what, like,
which was some of the
everyone
best,
knows that thing.
Yep. The T-1000, you mean?
Well, I just mean the liquid. Like everyone knows of the liquid metal. Like that scene where his face heals up or whatever.
The chopper pilot, where he comes in through the window of the chopper.
No, where Arnie
and says,
shoots him
"Get
in the face
out."
with that shotgun. Remember the scene where Arnie blows his head into 2 pieces? Basically, that's the cool scene.
Well, he's got the bloop tube, and he blows practically everything from his torso up in half, which is great.
Yeah, it was a really good movie. I love the special effects. I loved Arnie
Great
with
soundtrack.
the lever action shotgun, which was a Browning design.
Yeah,
All right,
nice.
well, I'm gonna
Plays out
hop
there. I
out.
need your
I'll let you
closing
guys.
thought.
I'll let you guys finish
Wrap it
up
up.
the show. But that's
Hey,
all I
thank
wanted
you
to
for
get
everything,
in.
Smegs.
2 thumbs up. Terminator
Thanks,
2,
Max.
good movie. For some reason, it's the only Terminator on Netflix. I remember one day I got it in my head that I'm just gonna binge watch all the Terminators. Like that'll be fun. They only had Terminator 2. I'm like, what the hell? You don't even have the first one? Like, I can't just watch 2 all by itself. That's not fair. You got to start at the first and go through as many as there are.
Yep.
But whatever.
Yep.
So.
Hey, have a good show, buddy.
Yep. Thank you. See you guys.
All right,
tomorrow.
man.
And G-Webs, are you going to say anything about it? Or are you just going to
Okay, so
keep
definitely, I think
on
that's
keeping on? What,
2 thumbs up from everyone.
Oh yeah, I'm looking for the scene where he pulls that roof off of the gun bunker. I couldn't find that one, so I'll say this is another iconic scene. I think.
oh, I got you. He pulls up the 2 chains and then
Literally,
slides it over.
Guns N' Roses.
Don't you love that shotgun? I still want to buy one of those, even though they're not that good a shotgun.
Well, the Chapo is a Jam-O-Matic, from my understanding, unless you clean it up post-production.
Yeah, Norenko makes one, and it's the same problem.
Yeah, they definitely glorified things you could do with that shotgun that regular people, I don't think, are going to be able to do with that shotgun. No.
Like when he flips it forward.
Yeah, I don't think you're doing that. If you've ever filled one,
Well,
Wait,
that
sorry,
is doable.
it looks very cool when he flips it forward.
Yeah,
he does.
it is doable, but it hurts like hell.
But it also it chucks it. It sure chucks it potentially too.
Yeah, if you think about
Well,
it,
then in turn cause that jam.
if you try to do that with like a 22, it's got such a short action, like you really can't. It's not, they don't move enough. And then these are the other end where there's such a long action that, you can do it with a rifle, but with the shotgun, it's not the lever comes down so
I've
far,
done it
it
with
doesn't really work.
I've done it with 30-30s, and it really does hurt. That's a lot of weight to have twist and torque in your wrist.
Mm-hmm. Maybe you should shoot something besides 9mm. All right, so we're giving it.
Well, Mikulik is a Terminator, by the way. He was sent from the future. So somebody was commenting that Mikulik. And we don't know if post-production and fluffing or buffing was involved. I'm sorry, G, am I talking over you? My bad.
Oh, okay.
No, I think we got a buffering issue or something. Anyway, so yeah, we're all giving Terminator 2 2 thumbs up, I think. And not my favorite. I still like number 1 more, but 2 is pretty good.
Yeah, I really like 2 because Arnie.
As far as sequel though, man, yeah, as far as sequels go for movie franchises and stuff, it's one of the best sequels to the original compared to a lot of other sequels of other movies out there. You know what I mean?
And with the significance,
One would be another one where it's
we're having some kind of a lag thing. With the significance of Terminator, a bad sequel could have really killed it. But they had a lot to live up to, and they did pretty good at it. A lot of people like 2 better than 1.
Yeah,
I
think that's true, and I think in my case, I think I just barely, but I think I like 2 just a little bit better than 1. I mean, 1 was amazing. It was a great movie. When it came out, it was one of the few movies I went to see in a theater. You know, it was just excellent. Terminator 2, same thing. I went to see it in theater, but I think Terminator 2, I liked it a little tiny bit more. And I think it was partially just because even as in Terminator 1, Arnold, there was something that you just liked about the Terminator. I don't know why. So when he came back as the good guy, and it was a really funny part in so many ways, like he made that character come alive. So yeah, I think he definitely big 2 thumbs up. Yeah, good show.
I also like when you're mentioning that they extrapolate on pieces of the first one that they only touched on. So like the battlefields in the future and whatnot, they gave you a better taste of that, and that was definitely satisfying.
And you were talking about as a bad sequel could have killed us. I'm gonna agree with you. And by the time, okay, so the third one was the chick, right? The chick Terminator.
The hot
correct.
Terminator.
Yes.
Right.
The third one is the one with
Christina Loken.
There's the one where he's like a teenager and he goes into what's her name's veterinary place to fix himself, and then she comes and helps him, and it turns out they were friends when they were kids or something, and then there's that ridiculous fire engine scene going down the road.
Yep.
It got kind of bigger than life. They were trying to spend money and not make a cool movie, it seemed like. So I think a lot of people...
Well, and they had to get it together where John Connor gets stored in pocket, so to speak, with the person who to start the resistance with. And I mean, that's
is Z breaking
happened
up
in the third one. And then what? Oh, it could be me, I guess.
Well, Z sounds like he's breaking for me.
No.
Tom will have to tell us.
All right. Well, we don't need to keep going on and on then, or I don't need to anyway.
Yeah,
let's do healthy tip of the day.
All right. So every day we try to remind everybody that the most important part of the gun is the part that pulls the trigger. With that in mind, we offer a healthy tip, and today's is do your own yard work. Or here's an even better one. Let's say you're on vacation, maybe even in another country. Volunteer to do a whole bunch of yard work for some friend of yours for no reason. So and for no pay at all. So that's another way to be healthy.
Yeah, right.
So Bob can tell you, my yard is immaculate because I'm always out there doing my own yard work to stay healthy.
I tell you what, it's like, ice lemonade goes a long pay. Ice cold lemonade goes a long way for yard work pay.
I'm telling you, like, it's House and Gardens. You know, you drive by and go, man, he should have an award. You know, seriously.
You know, the city's always contacting me about the state of my yard.
Yeah, Matt.
In my mind's eye, gee, I got this pic of the cop car, the van, a storage shed, and then various other accoutrements in the yard.
Boats, canoes.
We got it
Well,
all.
no, hey, don't give away any security or nothing.
Boats
No,
and
actually,
everything in
you
the
drive
water.
around Arizona, it's pretty much the same. Like,
They say we have
Oh,
more
okay.
boats in Arizona than per capita than they have in Minnesota. How crazy is that? Since
They try and say what?
No, they say that there's more boats per capita, so a higher percentage of boat owners in Arizona than there is in Minnesota. I've heard that said before. We have a lot of little lakes, and I guess it's more enjoyable for us to get on a lake than people in Minnesota must just borrow boats a lot or something.
You can do it year round, number one.
Yeah,
and-
well, I don't care about going in the water. They're always around water, so we probably appreciate it more. We flock to the
yeah,
water.
in Minnesota, it's just falling from the sky all the time. So it's like, oh, why would I want to go in a lake? I hate water.
It
You know?
freezes over in the winter, gentlemen. Hello.
And then, well, that's when they go out and fish.
Yeah. So anyway, that was our healthy tip today. If you ever have an idea for a healthy tip, we're recycling some from last year. Feel free to suggest them. If you'd like to elaborate on that portion of the show, feel free. It is sort of the idea, we want to keep that in mind, or keep it on the. What am I trying to say? Keep it on, on the schedule, in the conversation.
Yes.
Yeah, I think go ahead.
It's a good idea. I mean, for us, we do it for completely selfish reasons. The more people who don't die because they're getting some exercise, the more they'll stay around and watch the show.
Well, I thought you were going to say the more people that don't die stay committed to the second and fighting for.
I was going to say promote the Second Amendment, yes.
Well, and that too.
And can hopefully bring in the next generation of the Second Amendment appreciators as well.
Hey, I'm trying to promote the show here, guys. I know Second Amendment's important, but so is this show. Because we promote the Second Amendment.
Well, with that, though, I think we should wrap it up so that everybody can run over to Hit or Miss, check it out. And what else do we have happening on Gun Channels tonight?
Yeah, Z?
Forgot to mention.
Hit or Miss, and it's Big Gunner, right?
Right, and we ran right on top of Andalusia Armory. They started right about when we start and then end a little while ago. So if you haven't already, if you listened to them if you listened to us the last couple of weeks, we had them on as guests. It's a group of guys that run a shop in Andalusia, Alabama, and they, right? Alabama, right?
Yep.
They close the shop
Correct.
early on Tuesdays. They set up a table and a webcam, and they broadcast a show from the shop. And it's ultimately interesting for me. It's like insight to what's going on at a gun shop. So if you were into cars, it would be interesting to listen to guys who work at a car place. If you're into guns, it's interesting to listen to the adventures of what happens at a gun shop. So anyway, they're on Tuesdays, right where we are. So both of us are recorded. If you miss us, listen to them live. Vice versa. If you listen to us live, check them out recorded.
Yeah, for sure. Because they are just like a bunch of guys who work in the shop. They're sitting around shooting the shit, really, and it's really interesting. It's a really good watch. I watch it myself all the time, so I'm just gonna say everybody else should check it out.
I think we can wrap up episode 267. We'll be back here same time tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern. That's 4 Pacific for another exciting show. We're going to be talking about CCW. Should you train with a specific carry gun? That means. And then the entertainment segment, we'll be talking about gun magazines. That should be interesting. And then on Wednesdays, we do a tactical quiz. So looking forward to that. We'll see you then.
Okay, everybody. I'm just going to warn the guys. You might want to avert your eyes. I'm doing this for a certain lady. So camera's going on. There we go. Yeah, that's kind of weird, but anyway, the quote today is man's rights. Where was it? All right, this is by Frederick Douglass. This is during the Civil War. He was civil rights, I guess you'd call him. He was working towards freeing the slaves and making,
Can you speak into the microphone, please?
making Lincoln sign the papers. So anyway, his quote is a man's rights rest in 3 boxes: the ballot box, the jury box, and the cartridge box. So keep that in mind, guys, and remember, vote, support the Second Amendment, and please subscribe and like our podcast, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
The guys and gals of gunwebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thanks for watching gunwebsites.com.